Welcome to the Movies of the Damn podcast. My name is Kyle Grant, and I'm sitting here, as always, with my friend and published horror author, John Hunt. If you enjoy what you hear here today, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page, and follow us on both Instagram and Twitter, @DamnMovies. Email us any questions, comments, and suggestions to moviesofthedamned@gmail.com. For further details on John's published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. Today, we'll be discussing Shinichiro Ueda's 2017 film, One Cut of the Dead. The movie opens during the production of a low-budget zombie film. It's soon interrupted, though, by the outbreak of a real zombie apocalypse, and the cast and the crew must then begin to fight for their lives. A flashback soon reveals that this is actually all staged as part of a zombie attack TV episode, and the movie ends after showing all the problems that arose during filming. John? Opening thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, so I didn't know too much about this film. I saw some advertisements on the net, like some Twitter stuff, and it was getting some positive feedback, positive reviews. So I was like, let's decide to do this one next time.
Yeah, I completely honestly never had heard of this movie, had no idea what we were getting into. When you did say, let's do this film, and I went and looked it up on Shudder, I was like, oh, yeah, I've seen this movie poster a few times, just kind of like scrolling through. But that was the extent of what I knew about it, is just the fact that I'd seen the movie poster before.
Yeah, and the description for the movie was essentially that, while they were filming a low-budget zombie movie, a real zombie apocalypse broke out. So I didn't know about the rest of it.
And to be honest, I didn't even read that.
Yeah.
But I love that in that little synopsis, it doesn't give away the movie.
Yes. So, because I got to tell you, when I first watching it, so the first 20 minutes are I guess I would say the 25 minutes are what they filmed, right?
Yeah, it's even 38.
Oh, 38 minutes?
Yeah.
So it was 38 minutes of that.
And the only reason I know that is because I did some reading about it afterwards.
Okay. So then while watching it, I'm like, maybe I made a mistake.
Yeah, because it is a little strange, right? Like that one scene that sticks out in particular to me is when, and you find out later why, but the three of them are kind of escape the zombies and they keep asking each other if they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are we watching here?
Yeah, I know. So it's like there's that, and then there's like, okay, so you had the director who was like setting stuff up, like throwing zombies into the mix to like attack the people. So it could be...
That actually made me laugh out loud, though. The first time he throws them in and he yells, "Action!"
Yeah, so it was funny, but then it was also like seemed a little chaotic, like not very well done, right? So I was just like, okay, it's funny, it's fine, but it's also kind of trash. And
yeah, it did appear like really low budget, but that's what the look they were going for.
No, and I understood that, but I was like, okay, am I going to watch an hour and a half of this?
Fair enough,
right?
Fair enough.
I didn't know about the other portion of it, right? So that was where I was coming from, and also like the main camera, which you find out the importance of it later, but the director wasn't holding the camera the whole time, right? Because there's the director, you see the director off shot with another camera, and then there was one camera filming the whole time, and I'm like, well, who's holding this camera?
Yeah, it's not the director; it's the cinematographer. Is that what you call them?
But you don't see him ever. So
no.
it was more like, okay, so is this supposed to be filming a zombie movie while a real zombie apocalypse happened? So why haven't we met the person behind this camera yet? So
yeah, because if it was a real zombie apocalypse, they would be in it being like, oh my gosh, this is so wild, we almost died, like that type of thing.
Yeah, so that stuff didn't make sense to me, and then there's a lot of running around, and the camera was shaky, and there's just like...
And your point's completely valid there.
Yeah.
It didn't cross my mind, though, just because so much was happening in that first kind of one continuous scene that I never thought, how come we haven't seen the cameraman yet?
And so, yeah, it did for me, and then, like later on when it got to the point where she's in that shed hiding, and she looks all scared, and there's that person with the mud on their legs. They come in, and you only see their legs from maybe the thigh down, and then she looks all scared, and then that person goes away. You're assuming it's a zombie, but you don't know,
Yeah.
right? But and from the way she acts and the way the slow walks away, and then you never see this zombie ever again, and then she ends up killing her boyfriend and the director at the end. Like, it all goes from there, and you're just like, okay, well, because this zombie in there had like distinctive legs, so I would have known who it was, right, if you saw him again. So I was just like, where'd that person go to? Like, so I like, once again, I didn't have any idea that this was like a filming of a filming of a filming. You know what I mean?
And there was cheesy lines too, right? Like the scene
Yeah,
you
for
just
sure.
described where she was hiding, and then the zombie leaves, and she comes out and she's like, "Lucky me, I found an axe."
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
so stuff like that didn't really hit a good note, right, with me, and I'm like, oh my god, what have I done, right? What are we watching?
and yeah, and so it is a little bit off. The one thing I
Uh,
did like though is the fact that they made it look like one continuous long scene. The only
yeah,
the only
sorry.
other time I'd seen that before, did you ever see the movie Birdman
Yeah,
with Michael Keaton? That's the
Yeah.
only other time I'd seen it.
yeah.
So I kind of like that, and I kind of, and so I found myself looking for where they could have cut it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because it obviously wasn't just one continuous shot. It obviously was multiple shots that they were able to flawlessly put together. But I kept looking for, oh, they dropped the camera here. This is where they could have cut. Oh, they're not. There's no one in the frame right now. This is where they could have cut.
Well,
like
that's
that type of thing.
that's the name of the movie, like one cut, one shot, right? So I knew that's why they had that one camera running, but I'm like, well, we still should see who this camera guy is, right?
No, and I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that I
No, I
found
know.
myself continually looking for like the making of the movie where they
Yeah,
could
yeah.
have kind of got away with
Yeah.
it, because it did seem flawless though, right? I didn't see anything choppy or there wasn't anything like that.
No, like once again, like, because I was just looking at all the inconsistencies and the flat lines, and then the director like going over the top at the very beginning, right? Like yelling at her, right? And you're just like, this is like, I was just like, okay, well, I don't know about the writing on this one. I don't know. I was kind of nervous about watching the rest of it and then having to talk about it, because I don't like to like come down.
Yeah,
hard
you know,
on stuff.
you're obviously always going to be honest, but you don't want to just sit here and trash the movie.
No.
It's funny though that opening scene made you nervous, because I liked the opening scene. I was into it. I was digging what was going on. A couple things made me laugh, like when he kept. I did like it when he kept pushing the zombie in and yelling action. Like, I thought
Mhm.
that was funny.
Mhm.
When I think the first time the zombie comes and he like pukes on the one guy.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, that just grossed me out, because I hate it when people throw up. So that just put me on edge. And I just, again, like that one continual shot. My moment of dread came after that. And then they kind of, what did it say, 1 month earlier or something like that?
Yeah.
And then things kind of got slow. And that's when I looked at my watch. I'm like, oh man, like, am I going to have to sit here for another 50 minutes?
Well, that's interesting, because that's when to me the movie became interesting.
Oh, because then you were kind of like, oh, now I see what's going on
Yeah,
here.
so now I understand. So now I could see it from a different angle, and I could see that this director was really trying to do his best with the tools that he had. Going back to that other another part that bothered me with the opening scene is like when they're talking about why the zombie, why they chose that place, a water filtration system, and that the army used to do experiments on human beings. Like, I was like, oh my god. This
Yeah,
is
like so cliche, right?
Well, it's Return of the Living Dead. I was like, this
Yeah.
is Return of the Living Dead. Oh my god. Like, so a lot of that stuff was like setting up warning signals for me. Like, oh no.
Like,
So
just
when
making you groan, making you roll your eyes.
Yeah,
but then when it comes around, you're like, oh, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was actually very refreshing. I was like, okay, this is actually really cool, and and I like how the director struggled with the concept, kind of laughed at it outright at the beginning. Was juggling, his relationship at home with his daughter and his wife, and it's just like all those things, all those stressors were coming into this one moment where he had to film a continuous movie on live TV, right? So it's just like, I thought it was actually really fun to watch at that point.
And like I said, I kind of had that feeling of dread after that opening scene, and I thought things kind of slowed down a little bit. But then I thought it picked up great again. Kind of, I divide the movie into thirds. You have that first third with the long continuous scene.
Yeah.
You kind of have the middle where things get explained, and then that last third where it kind of shows you the filming of that scene.
Yeah.
And I love the last third again, seeing like
Yeah.
the kind of behind the scene things, and then
Yeah.
like scrambling to get things ready, and then the one guy being drunk, and like
Yeah.
just everything like that, and him and the director and his wife having to like become actors because they weren't initially supposed to
Yeah.
be in it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of love that storyline, how like the wife used to be an actress, but
Yeah.
she got too much into her roles, and then they had to he ends up
improvise.
choking her out, doesn't he, or something like that?
Oh, does he choke her out? I know she gets.
I think he choked her out, and that because she was just like getting too much into it, because she kept using her self-defense on people. Remember that?
Pum.
which is like, that was ridiculous in itself. But
No, yeah, it was really fun. But I like how they use that, because I thought that was like a really interesting but also dry scene at the same time when it was like happening at the very beginning. I'm like, well, maybe this self-defense is going to be important later on with all the zombies coming in, but still it's kind of
yeah, because
it's
it didn't
kinda
make
dry.
sense, right? It was dry.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we sitting here with these people talking? But then you
Yeah.
find out in that last third that they're like having to kill time.
mm-hmm.
And that's where that other scene comes from that I was talking about, where it's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you? Like, it just kept going
Yeah.
in like a circle, right?
Or when near the end, when the boyfriend kept coming towards her, and they're like, "Oh wait, pause," because they're trying to build that human triangle to get the camera
Oh,
angle.
the human pyramid. Yeah.
Yeah, the human pyramid. Yeah, to get the camera angle, and then they kept falling down. He's like, and then it's like holding his hand up, telling them to stop, and then the zombie would just stop.
And she's just there like screaming, just
Yeah.
continuously screaming.
I know.
I thought it was cool though. I really liked how when she kills the director. So in the
Yes.
last third, and they have the person sitting there like as she swings, spurting
Yeah.
blood. Like, I thought that was kind of interesting.
No,
right?
I it was fun watching the behind the scenes, the mechanics, and all the troubles that they had with, especially with the drunk guy, because he was passed out, he wasn't getting up, right? And you find out it was actually real vomit that he spat on.
Yeah,
the poor
which
guy,
is just
right?
awesome, right?
Which is like, oh my god. And I also like a lot of the cliches that they threw in, because they're actually pretty funny. Like with the one guy who is always like, is this soft water? Because
Oh, yeah, that's right. And you think he's just this like prima donna, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, whichever one it was, either soft water or hard water, one of them gives him diarrhea. And I remember sitting there, I'm like, just rolling my eyes, like, what, like typical actor, right? And then
Well,
you
it's
find
the
out
best,
actually,
right? Because the way he delivered it too, like the way he was like he was pretty aggressive to this girl, right? But not
Yeah.
really aggressive. He just stared at her, impassive face, like just like I sent you the email, right?
Yeah.
Every time. Did you get the email? No. I can only drink soft water. I can't drink hard water. And they're like, what? But yeah, so like some of that stuff was pretty funny. And then the one guy was like, oh, I can really sense the racist undertones in this film. And they're like, everyone's, yeah, sure.
the one who the daughter had the crush on, yeah,
Yeah,
like the main actor or whatever.
Yeah, trying to be like really into it. And then what was the one girl saying? Yeah, my studio wouldn't like me to do that, so I'm not gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
I want to do that, but my studio wouldn't. My agency wouldn't want me to do that, right?
Just throwing it under the bus there. No, I like it.
Yeah, it was a fun film. Like after that, but I could tell you the first 40 minutes, I was struggling.
To get through it, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, I was kind of interested to see like, where does this thing lead? And I think the thing that kept me in it was just that, again, that one continuous scene. I just thought that was unique. You don't see that a lot, and so that kept me going.
Yeah, but there's only so much. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. So from the presentation standpoint, if that was actually the whole movie and it was just trying to do a unique one shot with it, then I would say it was poorly executed.
Okay.
Right. So then that's why I didn't really care too much about that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, the way it was dropping, the way the person was rubbing the blood off the front of the screen and chasing, you know what I mean? I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
It's just kind of painful to watch.
And again, and then that's another spot where they could have cut, right, when you're
Mhm.
like wiping the rag in front of the camera, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's just kind of cool stuff. One thing that didn't bug me as much as it usually does, the subtitles.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah, I think you're just getting me to watch more and more subtitled movies now, and it's maybe not as big of a deal for me as it used to be. I don't know what to say. But right away, as soon as it was subtitled, I was like, ugh. But then I kind of got into it, and it was
Yeah.
all right. It was whatever,
So
right?
and it does take time, I guess, right? So it's like the thing with subtitles is like when you get used to them, and when you're watching a certain film, it's almost like they're not there anymore. You're just kind of seeing the person talk and you're reading at the same time, so they're kind of melding. So like I don't even notice them half the time, right? So especially if the acting is good, right? Because they just kind of meld together.
And it's funny, actually, like, I've gone from, like, never using subtitles to now that we have the newborn at home, even when we're watching stuff in English, we have the subtitles on,
Oh,
just in
yeah?
case she starts to freak out or make noise so we can still tell what's happening, which is kind of funny. And we are actually watching this one show on Netflix, can't even remember what it was called, Home for Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was actually a dubbed show from, like, I don't even know, Denmark or Norway or something.
Yeah.
But the people who did the dubbing and the people who did the subtitles are different people. So like when they were saying things in English, it wasn't the same as what was written at the bottom of the screen. So it was kind of funny to see.
It is funny because there's a lot of times different translations for the same, right? Because it's just like some languages express things differently.
No,
right?
for sure, right? And I don't know if like the voice actors just want to make it their own as well. Like who knows, right?
So that's interesting. So I'll use subtitles on an English show, but only because like when I'm trying to, like, I'm learning Italian, right? So I'll put the Italian subtitles up on an English show, so I can read and also learn at the same time.
That would actually be a really good way to get kind of like slang. Because sometimes when they teach you like a language, it's just like the proper form. Where it's like no one really talks like that,
and all
right?
the present, like they really do the present tense, right? So you could say, can I have an apple, right? They want you to be able to say that instead of like, oh, that apple was terrible, which is more, a different way of saying something.
Yeah,
right?
but a different way of saying something, but almost more of a way that people talk.
Yeah, right. So more real. Yeah, for sure. So so it's helpful with that, and it also helps, really helps with learning new words in that language, right? So.
Oh, interesting. Very, very cool. Back to this movie though. One thing that I found that makes sense, but I still thought it was very cool, is that they did all of the filming for this in 8 days.
Really?
Yeah. So just over a week. And the budget for this movie, $25,000.
Holy cow.
That is a shoestring budget.
That is a great shoestring budget.
Box office, $30 million.
Good for them.
So one of the
man.
most like profitable movies of all time when you look at it like percentage wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Just absolutely killed it. One thing, I don't know, I'm a little bit surprised. Rotten Tomato score, critics, 100.
Really? How many critics?
And you know what? I should have looked that up. I didn't. But there's not one critic that disliked this movie. Kind of weird, eh?
Well, maybe it was only one critic that liked it.
Oh, I gotta think that it's more than one. But the audience score, 84.
Oh, okay.
Like, where do you put yourself? Are you like, is this a flawless movie like the critics are saying? Are you more in the 80s? Are you lower? What do you think?
See, I don't know. I think they did a good job. They really did pull a fast one on me, right? Because I wasn't expecting, the filming of a film. You know what I mean? I wasn't really in that headspace. Like I was at the point where if I wasn't doing the podcast, I wouldn't have watched this movie.
Oh, you would have shut it off.
Yeah, I would have shut it off. So
what does that tell you then? Can you give it a favorable review?
So that's what I mean, right? That's the difficult part, because if I gave it the full shot, I would have liked it. I would have watched it all.
Well, maybe
You know
this
what I
is a lesson for you then, that you can never again turn a movie off.
No, that's not true at all.
And I'm just looking it up here. 81 critics.
Oh, okay.
81 gave it the thumbs up.
100%.
Yeah.
Holy
Not one of
cow.
them. Not one of them said no to this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it says for the user rating that 92 people reviewed it.
Okay.
So not that many of them disliked it either, right?
Yeah,
for it
yeah,
to be
no, it's
sitting
good,
there at
it's good.
84.
Yeah, so that's sort of like, for me, if I knew going into it what it was, then I would have watched the whole thing. You know what I mean? And I would definitely be within an 80 to 84 range. I'd be more along the lines of the audience consensus, right?
I'd probably be in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like I thought this was a fun movie. It had a couple laughs. Like it's in no means a classic.
No, but you have to admit the premise is very original.
Oh yeah, and
Right,
very unique. But would you
Yeah.
ever watch this again though?
I actually might watch it again because I feel like because I gave the first portion such a harsh, watching, that I should probably watch that over again just to give it a fair shake at to what I wasn't appreciating the first time.
And you know what? Now that I catch myself when I'm like, I never watched it again, I might actually like to at least watch that opening sequence again, because now that when you see the last of the movie and how everything's filmed and why the
Yeah.
delays were, just to see it again and be like, oh yeah, that's why this happened like this. That's why that
Yeah.
happened like that.
So it was fun. It was original. At the end of it all, the writing was actually pretty good. So I can't. Yeah, I'd be based upon what I usually base a movie on. I'd be within the 80, 85 range for sure.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Did you watch through the credits?
No, I did not. Well, I did. I watched a bit of it. Yeah.
Okay, so they were kind of showing like the actual filming of it,
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of cool,
I
right?
know.
Because even though obvious, like, folks, if you're listening out there, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking there's no way they actually did this in one take.
Mhm.
And there actually was cuts, but even though there was cuts, there was still long periods of filming, right?
For
And
sure.
so I love seeing it when they're like actually like throwing the actors in there,
Mhm.
throwing the blood in there, and doing
Mhm.
things like that. I
I
thought
like
that
how
was pretty cool.
I actually liked when you watching it afterwards and they would throw the fake body in with the fake head on top, right? And then they would, like, and then they do the slash and the blood would fly up. I really liked that. I thought like it was cheap special effects, but it worked still, right? Like I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, well, just to show how things actually would work in a
Mhm,
movie and
mhm.
things like that, right?
Mhm.
And the one thing that I was like disappointed, and I knew they did it this way, but I still disappointed to see the last shot. They actually showed someone up on a ladder filming the last shot instead of like up on the top of the human pyramid, right? So I thought, I'm like, oh, I can't believe this.
No, yeah. So I like this film. I like this film. I'm definitely gonna tell Ethan to watch it.
Oh, has he not seen it yet?
No, he hasn't seen this.
Okay, I think, well, he did tell us before that he doesn't absolutely love horror comedies, but
Yeah.
maybe just the originality of this, the uniqueness might be something that
Yeah.
you enjoy about it.
Yeah. So because he liked Tucker and Dale and he liked What We Do in the Shadows.
Love those two movies.
Yeah, he loved those, right? So, but yeah, other than that, he's not a huge fan. Like, I don't think he'd be a fan of The Babysitter, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think he would be.
Oh, okay. I love that one.
I know, me too. So, I don't know.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. But the one thing that I like about this one too is that it's not a North American movie. 'Cause remember
That's true, right?
how much cooler like all other markets are than North
well,
America.
he's primarily focused on European, but
Yeah. I'm actually like, I'd be interested to see what this director's next film is, right? Because I think there'd be like a lot of pressure on him where people are like expecting something original from him, right?
Yeah, so you can run into that, right? As a director, you can run into that. It's almost like typecasting for directors, right? Like we were talking about this with M. Night Shyamalan, right? Like he was always under pressure to have some weird.
He's got to
twist,
have that twist,
right? He's got to have it, right? Like he's probably like, I just want to do a movie, man. I just want to do a
Yeah,
straight.
like, maybe there won't be
movie.
a twist. I'm just gonna have some good writing in this one.
Yeah. Some good dialogues, maybe some social commentary, but not really because I don't like to do that. Like just something. Maybe he just wants to do a movie, man.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. So no, but it would be interesting to see what he does next. Maybe you're right. He just does something completely off the board. It's not horror related. It's not even like original. It's just a regular movie, right?
Yeah.
And
Who
then
knows?
imagine he has like a way bigger budget, obviously, than 25,000 and just big bomb at the box
he would
office.
definitely have a bigger budget. That's for sure.
Oh, he's earned it after this
yeah,
movie.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, folks, this one is one that's on Shudder. So if you have Shudder, check it out. If you've listened to the podcast, obviously at this point, it's gonna ruin it for you. Like all the stuff that we've talked about, you're not gonna get those same surprises that we had. But it's worth checking out. It's a cool watch. It's unique. It's original. It's funny. It's just a fun, enjoyable movie to sit down, and it's not long. It's only an hour and a half.
No. And that being said, like I said before, like if I wasn't watching it for the podcast, I wouldn't have made it past that.
So-
initial
so-
thing.
so
it's
make
kinda
it
good
past
to know,
that.
right? So it's kind of good to know that there's originality, there's good stuff to this, not just the surprise wasn't the, you know what I mean? Like the surprise wasn't the end all be all for this film.
No, you're absolutely right. And as I said, I'm glad that they kind of showed that end sequence there, because I was worried that after that opening scene, there wasn't going to be much of anything after that.
Right.
But I'm glad the way that they put it together.
Yeah, for sure. A fun film. Definitely a fun film.
Well, buddy, anything else to add on this one?
No.
Well, folks, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and follow us on both Twitter and Instagram at Damn Movies. We want to hear what you thought of today's podcast and any suggestions you have, especially in terms of what movies you'd like us to discuss next. Send us an email to moviesofthedamned@gmail.com. Please also check out John's full-length novels. His first 2 novels, Dollhouse and The Tracker, are Amazon bestsellers. You can also pre-order his novella Balance, his book of short stories, 4 Shots of Horror, and his newest novel, Off the Grid, on Amazon right now. For further details on John's other published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. For all those out there who follow us on Twitter and Instagram, you'll know that we've been making lots of posts about our t-shirts. Check them out. Tons of designs. Buy a shirt, help out the podcast. As for us, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. Excellent people. You guys have been liking our podcast on the platforms. That's very helpful. And those of you who are on YouTube, I've noticed that we've getting some more likes on that as well. So thank you very much. It really does help. Other than that, have a great week and be kind, everyone.